Women today are more empowered than ever. So why do so many men feel lost, betrayed, and emotionally starved? Carl Jung uncovered a hidden psychological war between the sexes, one that most men don't even realize they're fighting. Jung's clinical work revealed how the rise of the modern woman was not liberation, but a dangerous shift in the collective unconscious. By understanding these forces, you'll see the hidden dynamics controlling your relationships and how to reclaim your power. Imagine this. You meet a woman, intelligent, independent, radiant. She speaks of equality, of partnership. You think, finally, someone who gets it. But then slowly, the mask slips. The demands pile up. The respect fades. You're expected to perform, to provide, to serve, while she remains untouchable, a judge rather than a companion. What happened? Carl Jung saw this coming a century ago in the 1920s as women gained suffrage and stepped into the workforce. Jung noticed something disturbing. The modern woman wasn't just adopting male roles, she was consuming them, absorbing masculine energy while rejecting her own femininity. This wasn't progress, it was possession. Jung called it the invasion of the animus, the dark side of female empowerment. History shows us a pattern. Every time a civilization reaches its peak, women begin to masculinize. Rome, Greece. Now, the West. Jung studied ancient myths where warrior women, like the Amazons, weren't heroes, they were warnings. They cut off one breast to shoot arrows, better symbolizing the mutilation of their nurturing nature. Sound familiar? Today's woman doesn't need a bow. She wields bureaucracy, social shaming, and the legal system. She doesn't conquer lands. She conquers minds. Let me tell you about Daniel. Daniel was a lawyer, sharp, disciplined, successful. He married a woman who called herself a feminist, but over time, she became colder, more critical. She mocked his emotions, dismissed his struggles. One night after another silent dinner, Daniel snapped. "What do you even want from me?" A reply, "I don't know, but it's not this." Jung would say Daniel was dealing with a woman whose animus, inner masculine, had swallowed her anima, inner feminine. She didn't know what she wanted because she was at war with herself, and Daniel, he was just collateral damage. Modern society tells men, be vulnerable, be emotional. Women want a real man who cries. But Jung's research revealed the brutal truth. Women are repelled by weakness, even the ones who claim otherwise. In the relations between the ego and the unconscious, Jung wrote, "A woman's unconscious is not less revengeful than a man's. It is only more cunning." Translation, she may say she wants sensitivity, but her biology, her shadow, still craves dominance. So here's the question. If modern women are unconsciously rejecting femininity, what are they becoming instead? The modern woman is not what she seems. She wears the mask of progress, of liberation, of equality, but beneath it, something far more primal stirs. Carl Jung saw it first. He watched as the 20th century unfolded, as women stepped out of the home and into the world, and he recognized the emergence of a new archetype, one that had laid dormant for centuries waiting for its moment to rise. This is not the nurturing mother, not the devoted wife, not even the independent thinker. This is the femme fatale, and she is the shadow of the modern age. Picture a woman you know, maybe she's a colleague, a lover, an ex. She speaks of empowerment, of self-actualization. She posts quotes about strength on social media, attends women's leadership conferences, demands equality in all things, but watch her closely. When a man fails, does she lift him up or does she relish his stumble? When a relationship falters, does she fight for it, or does she test him, pushing until he breaks? When power is within her grasp, does she share it, or does she consume it, leaving him hollow? Jung called this the negative animus, the masculine energy within women that, when unchecked, turns predatory. History has seen her before. In ancient Babylon, she was Ishtar, the goddess who lured men to their doom. In medieval Europe, she was Morgan Laffat, the enchant who betrayed King Arthur. In the 1940s, she was the silver screen siren, the woman who kissed you with a knife behind her back, and now she wears a pantsuit, She has a LinkedIn profile. She says, I don't need a man, but what she means is I need a man I can control. Jung's most unsettling revelation was this. The modern woman doesn't want a partner, she wants a host. Think of Mark. Mark was an artist, passionate, introspective, full of dreams. He fell in love with a woman who adored his creativity, his depth, but slowly, something changed. She began to critique his work, to question his choices, to imply he wasn't doing enough. At first he fought back, then he started to doubt himself. By the time she left him for a corporate banker, Mark was a shell of himself. His paintings gathered dust, his confidence was gone. What happened? Jung would say, Mark was drained. The modern femme fatale doesn't kill with poison or daggers. She kills by stealing a man's purpose. She takes his ambition, his drive, his sense of self, and absorbs it into her own identity. And when she's done, she moves on. Society tells us that women were oppressed for centuries, that their rise to power is justice, a correction of history's mistakes. But Jung saw the darker truth. No civilization survives the unchecked dominance of the femme fatale. Look at Rome at its height. Roman women gained unprecedented freedom. They owned property, divorced at will, took lovers openly. But as the historian Tacitus wrote, the more corrupt the state, the more numerous its laws. Sound familiar? Today we have more relationship rules than ever. More laws, more demands, more ways for a man to fail. Why? Because the femme fatale doesn't want freedom. She wants dominance, and she will use every tool at her disposal. Sex guilt legal systems to ensure it. But here's the question. No one dares ask if the femme fatale is the shadow of modern womanhood. What is her ultimate goal? 1. There is a storm gathering on the horizon. You can feel it in the way laws are rewritten overnight to favor female plaintiffs in divorce courts. You see it in universities where young men are taught to apologize for their masculinity before they've even had a chance to understand it. You hear it in the shrill chorus of media voices declaring male ambition to be toxic while celebrating female ruthlessness as empowerment. Carl Jung warned us about this. He saw the patterns, the same cultural shifts that preceded the fall of every great civilization. And what he uncovered was far worse than political correctness or social justice activism. He predicted the rise of a new world order, one ruled not by kings or presidents, but by the collective shadow of womanhood. This is not feminism, this is the matriarchy, and it is already here. Imagine a society where men no longer lead, where they no longer build, create, or fight, because they've been conditioned to believe their instincts are evil. Now, open your eyes because that society is ours. Jung wrote extensively about the mother complex, a psychological phenomenon where men remain eternally boyish, seeking approval from women rather than forging their own path. Look around, how many men do you know who live in quiet terror of female disapproval, who shape their opinions, careers, even their speech to avoid the wrath of the modern woman? This is not natural. This is engineered submission. History shows us the blueprint. In Sparta, a society that worshipped masculine strength, women held immense behind-the-scenes power. They shamed men into battle with phrases like, "Return with your shield," or "on it." The result, a culture of warriors who fought not for glory, but to avoid female scorn. Fast forward to today, men no longer die on battlefields. They die in divorce courts, in custody hearings, in workplaces, where a single false accusation can end a career. The weapons have changed, the war has not. Jung believed every culture needs its heroes, its mythic figures who embody the struggle against chaos. Hercules, Odysseus, Beowulf. But what happens when those heroes are recast as villains meet Alex? Alex grew up on stories of brave knights and explorers. He wanted to be like them, to test himself against the world. But by the time he reached college, he was told those dreams were oppressive, that masculinity was dangerous, that the only way to be good was to be small. So he shrank. He took a safe office job. He nodded along. When women criticized male privilege, he learned to apologize for existing. And when he finally mustered the courage to ask a woman out, she laughed and said, "You're too nice." I like guys who are more confident. Jung would call this the castration of the masculine spirit. Society tells men to be softer than despises them for their weakness. It demands vulnerability, then weaponizes it against them. The message is clear: you cannot win. So why try? Here's the truth. No one wants to admit the matriarchy is not about equality. It's about revenge. Jung's research into the collective unconscious revealed that when any group gains power after centuries of perceived oppression, its shadow emerges with terrifying force. The French Revolution wasn't just about liberty. It was about guillotining the aristocracy. Communism wasn't just about fairness. It was about slaughtering the bourgeoisie. In modern feminism, it's not about equal pay, it's about breaking men. Look at the data divorce laws that automatically favor women. False accusation statistics showing less than 10% of rape claims are proven false. Yet 100% of accused men suffer consequences. Workplace discrimination, where male executives are now 30% more likely to be fired for toxic behavior than female counterparts. This isn't progress. This is payback, and it's only beginning. But here's the question that will decide the future. Can men wake up in time? The war for your soul isn't overtype. I choose to rise in the comments below. The medieval stonemasons didn't build cathedrals for money. They built them to stand for centuries. What's your cathedral? Your book? Your business? Your family? Find it. Build it. Let it outlive you. This is not a drill. The psychological war against men will only intensify. The laws will grow harsher. The shaming will grow louder. The temptations to surrender will multiply. But Jung's wisdom offers a way through. I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. Will you die a slave to approval, or will you rise, scars and all, as the man you are meant to be? The choice is yours.